Hello and welcome to Greenfield, Indiana. It's as we take a look at New Castle and Greenfield Central, a huge matchup of two 2-1 teams in conference play. Andrew Kappas, Wes Peak along with you this evening. And Wes, you look at this point in the season, yes, there's a lot of season left, but it's all about positioning this time of year. You don't want to get left behind from the pack, and these are two teams that can both have a chance to be 2 games above 500 in conference play, 4 games in after tonight's game.
Yeah, winning your league and being competitive in your league is important, but even more important is building momentum as you get closer to tournament time. And these are both 2 teams that are interested in doing that and doing a better job of positioning themselves for late in the year when they can make those tournament runs.
We take a look at our Star Watch. Newcastle off to a 7-4 start. Big reason why, Cole McDaniel.
Cole McDaniel's really good. He's a typical Newcastle basketball player. He's going to shoot it well. He's going to handle it well. He's going to be tough, physical, hard-nosed. He's a very, very good weapon for them.
For Greenfield Central, they rely on Jake Cochran at 12.4 points per game, but it's a team, the Cougars, they really get their scoring in a variety of ways, but everything flows through their favorite senior, Jake Cochran.
Yeah, and I think when the game's on the line and things need to be done, he's the guy that comes up with a play. The Mundell brothers are 2 guys that provide a lot of leadership for them. Dylan Moles and Gavin Robertson are guys that can knock down shots, but really Jake Cochran is the guy that it all comes back to.
And you see his field goal percentage too, 51%, so he's gotten it done in a pretty efficient way this season as well.
Yeah, and he does it in a number of ways. He can shoot it a little bit, he drives it. I saw him last week against Mount Vernon, and he did a great job in the second half on the glass. So he's a guy that impacts the game in a number of ways.
It's a Greenfield team that played a tough schedule in the early going. They're 4-6 overall, but again, they're in the same spot as far as conference play goes that Newcastle's in, although Newcastle 3 games above 500. But you look at those numbers, there's not a lot of separation, at least on paper, between these 2 clubs.
No, and I think the big one that jumps out at you is that turnovers per game. And you know, you look at the points per game and the points allowed, and then you look at field goal percentage, and what those turnovers tell you is that Newcastle is extremely efficient. And so for Greenfield, if you're Greenfield, you've got to do things that disrupt their rhythm. You've got to do things that make their ball handlers uncomfortable. And it's a big challenge.
And it could be a long night for Greenfield Central if they don't take care of the basketball. If they do, though, and we expect it to be a really, really good back-and-forth game here tonight. Tip-off coming up, but before we go to break, we take a look at the conference standings right now, and it's really anybody's game. I know it's early in the season,
Sure.
So that's kind of obvious, but this is why this game is so pivotal. You want to be 3-1, not 2-2.
Yeah, you're looking there at, 6 teams that have 1 or 0 losses in the conference, and Pendleton hasn't really gotten started yet, so this is still up for grabs, and this is a really, really underrated league in Indiana, especially Central Indiana. There are a lot of good programs here.
It's going to be a fun one here tonight. Newcastle visiting Greenfield Central. We'll be back in just a moment with tip-off here on 9 Star TV.
A neighborhood drive-up builds their menu around locally sourced foods. A community-owned telecom delivers fiber optic bandwidth that helps them leverage high-performing technology with lower startup costs. Turns out, going local doesn't just mean fresh, it means better. 9 Star Connect. Community-owned, community-strong.
Welcome back to Greenfield Central. The starting lineup's being introduced here tonight. A big, big game between the Trojans and the Cougars. Couple of 2-1 teams in conference play. Newcastle off to a great start, though, Wes. Overall 7-4, and they've been fun to watch this year, even although they haven't had too many games away from home, only 3.
No, and they've got a good team, and they've got a really good player in Cole McDaniel, typical Newcastle guard. He even looks like the great guards that they've had, Brandon Millers of the world. This is going to be a big challenge for Greenfield.
And they got a big man in the middle, Colin Blessinger at 7 points, only 4 rebounds a game. He's going to be one of the biggest guys on the floor all night and could kind of spell Cole McDaniel off the perimeter at times here tonight. But for Greenfield Central, bit of a different story offensively. They got 4 different guys that average at least 8 points per game. So from a game prep standpoint, a little bit difficult for the Trojans on who to key in on.
Well, I mean, they are pretty balanced. I think if you're Newcastle, you got to make sure that you take care of what you can control, and that's playing good, solid defense and taking care of the glass. Greenfield is an energy-type team. They take the personality of their coach, Luke Meredith, who's a high-intensity guy. So anything you can do to keep them from getting any kind of juice will help you. I think the biggest thing for Newcastle is to use the length they have. They've got a significant size advantage. They're long, and that's going to cause problems for a Greenfield team that wants to backdoor you and wants to play a little misdirection.
A lot of seniors on the floor for Greenfield Central, as you might imagine, including Jake Cochran. But how about Dylan Moles, their third leading scorer at 9.3 a game? He's just a freshman, and he's already logged some big minutes early in his high school career. And now as the calendar flips to the middle of January, the lights are going to be appropriately, as they just turn them back on, even brighter here as we start to head toward February.
Yeah, Luke Meredith really likes Dylan Moles. He shoots it extremely well. He and Gavin Robertson in the backcourt, when they're together, those are two guys you've really got to keep an eye on if you're Newcastle. But again, Jake Cochran's the guy that you've got to make sure you keep off the glass and know where he's at in transition. It's going to be a good one.
Blessinger in the middle for Newcastle. He'll go up against Tyler Antich in the middle there. Antich at 3 a game. Blessinger at 6.7. Newcastle in green, Greenfield in white. And we are underway as Greenfield wins the tip.
And Greenfield likes to play the old Princeton Chin series, an abbreviated version of that. Lots of backdoor, lots of misdirection, lots of flare screens.
Blessinger able to get the rebound off the Cochran miss on the wing. A quick shot for them.
Newcastle does a great job of running their stuff. They're crisp. They cut hard. They hit every screen, and they know where each guy is going to be on the floor all the time.
Number to watch that we haven't spoken about yet, as Blessinger's jumper for long two is no good, is Greaser at 9 points, 4 assists per game. He kind of runs the offense more often than not for them. But each team an empty possession to start. Newcastle a missed long two, a missed 3 for Greenfield, but here they are in possession number 2 of the night.
Yeah, and if you watch Dylan Moles off the ball, when the ball's not in his hand, his feet are down and he's ready to catch the ball and shoot it. That's his one job out here, besides take care of it, but to knock down shots.
Mundell hands it off to Cochran, and they'll reset out to Caleb Mundell, who does a little bit of everything. 7 points, 4 rebounds, and 4.5 assists per game for this Cougar basketball team.
Yeah, and what you're going to see from Greenfield is a quick hitter into their Princeton stuff. And that time you had 2 separate possessions there. They didn't get what they wanted. They pulled it back out and ran it again.
Cole McDaniel, his first shot of the night is good. A 3 atop the key.
Yeah, he's really, really good off a ball screen, and you're going to need to keep hands up on him and cut down the space that he has to take shots.
Moles penetrated, then kicked it out. They'll have to reset. Not a clean grab for Antich.
Greenfield's going to be patient. They know that Newcastle's a very, very good team and a very efficient team, so empty possessions on offense are going to be bad news if you're Greenfield.
They kick it out, get a pretty good shot atop with Cochran. He can't answer the 3, although it's another possession as Moles able to pick up the loose ball.
Yeah, but that's a possession they're happy with. You know, you got a great shot, and you get an offensive rebound and another chance at it.
Well, they'll reset atop. Antich on the handoff. Finds Cochran. Cochran has it tipped away. Greaser the steal. He can't find it in transition. It's a 4-on-1 break. Turnaround jumper touches every bit of the rim and goes.
Yeah, nice little left hand there.
A 4-on-1 break. The man that stole it, though, Greaser, finishes it. What a start for Newcastle. They're up 5-0. Caleb Mundell.
Good pitch.
In the corner, 3-pointer on the way, buried by Brady Mundell.
Yep, you go brother to brother there. You get a baseline flood and a wide open 3 in the corner.
McDaniel tried to take the charge. He went down, but they didn't call it, and that prompted the open 3. Here he is with the ball.
Yeah, but they know where he's at. They're doing a good job of tracking him. They just got off that ball screen. They got to make sure they've got somebody that steps out and covers it.
Well, Greaser will run the point, and not a good-looking pass. It's stolen away. In transition, Cochran finishes it with the left hand, and just like that, we're tied.
Yep, energy guy, energy play. Jumps a passing lane, gets a steal, and scores it.
In transition, the 3 taken, no good. Ball batted out of bounds, and initially Antich had it, but then it was knocked loose, and it'll stay with Newcastle.
Yeah, look for something here with McDaniel coming off of something once the ball comes in.
They go over the top to Antich, who shot that three. He'll have a floater in the paint, uses the glass to his advantage.
Yeah, this is an efficient bunch. Well, they had one empty possession so far, maybe two. And we're 4 minutes in.
Trey Miller averaging just shy of 11 a game as the three-pointer no good. And I'll tell you what, right now Greenfield falling in love with the three a little bit. Ran out of real estate. They're able to kick it out, reset, long three. That one buried. Blasinger finishing it.
Yeah, Coach Meredith, the comment he made to me this week was that the biggest key for them in this game is, can they run Cole McDaniel off a line? I'm sorry, Trey Miller off a line, and can they make shots? He was concerned that because of the efficiency of Newcastle, that their shooting percentage was going to have to be extremely high for them to have a chance to win this.
And they've come out very cold, and there's a foul on the other end. And they're going to get Jake Cochran on the bump on the drive. Just a common foul. Stops the clock at 3:39 to go here in the first quarter. 10-5, though. Good start for Newcastle.
Yep.
Greaser, the left hand again, finishes in the paint.
Yeah, and Greenfield falls asleep there on that under out of bounds. That's way too easy. Coach Meredith's not going to be happy with that.
It's a 7-point lead. Not what the Cougars wanted to see to start the game. Kicked out, open three, though, on the wing, and that one finished by Caleb Mundell.
Yeah, and that's a good penetrating pitch. Got stopped and didn't force something up. Got his poise and kicked it to his brother for a three.
It's almost unfair chemistry. Yeah,
you know, they've probably played a little bit together.
The driveway to the actual hardwood. Greaser, good drive, kicks it out. Three atop the key, in and out, no good. An offensive rebound, put back off the glass and in. Guess who? It's Greaser in his left hand.
Yeah, but those two guys are the leaders of this bunch, and they're not going to let Greenfield, even though it's not the start they wanted, they're going to continue to come at you.
And Greaser with 6 points, and Newcastle has a 6-point lead, although McDaniel had it tipped away, somehow keeps it in some trouble, able to get it out ahead. Newcastle's got numbers. They're not able to do anything with it, although there is a foul under the basket. If that's on Cochran, that's 2 quick fouls on him.
Yeah, and I'm not so sure if there was anything there. Let's take a look.
I don't think it was on Cochran. Yeah, Caleb Mundell, as they call the foul. And
I'm not sure where he was in that frame there.
Yeah, he was not close.
No.
Free throw good.
I think the bottom of the backboard is what bore the brunt of that play.
Yeah. I guess it's first foul as well. It's Trey Miller. First free throw good. He's got 3 points already.
And Trey Miller's a kid that shoots 47% from three. He's going to get going at some point here when McDaniel starts to break down the defense.
Just a sophomore. Makes both free throws. 16-8. Newcastle in front. Greenfield, though, with the basketball, trying to wiggle back in. A lot of time here, obviously, but not the way they wanted to start. I think on either end of the floor.
Like Brady Mundell made a twisted something.
Yeah,
Caleb
Mundell fell down, and he almost fell down right on the basketball. Luckily, he landed just to the right of it. And it is going to be a turnover, though, back to Newcastle. So this challenging start continues as Daniel Cox looks on, the head coach of Newcastle.
Yeah, we're going to change pace a little bit here. A little three-quarter court zone press here, just to give Newcastle something else to look at. Blesinger's running wide open in there. Nobody's got a match on him.
Yeah, he was calling for the ball, but
I mean, Luke Meredith over there is almost the sixth guy on the floor for Greenfield.
yeah. And he's got the gym shoes on
He
because
does.
of the Coaches vs. Cancer pregame festivities. Is the three-pointer no good? Pregame ceremony, excuse me, is the three off the mark from Miller. Well, they get their stop, does Greenfield, but can they get a bucket?
Yeah, and this is a lineup they like. This is two shooters Robertson and Moles in the game at the same time. The key there is you got to get penetration. You got to get something into the paint that collapses all the defense and makes that help come.
And that hurts. Caleb Mundell just picked up his second foul. You could see him try to wiggle around. He did a little tap dance trying to bounce out of the way, but they just kind of stayed tangled.
Yeah, and both of those guys play extremely hard. And so, anytime you do that, you're a little bit reckless sometimes. You're going to get in foul trouble, and that's not something that Greenfield's going to be real interested in because they need both those guys in the game.
Burgum in the game now for Newcastle. Turnaround jumper. Blasinger's shot no good, batted into the arms, and picked up by Brady Mundell, now playing on the floor without his brother. They combined to average 19 a game and 8 rebounds between the two.
Yeah, and the leadership that they provide as seniors and guys that are both going to college to play sports is invaluable to these younger guys.
Gavin Robertson, amongst the trees, got tangled up and came down hard on his right side. And
yeah, he's hurt.
He's going to have to come out, I think, as he can't really put any weight.
Yeah, I think Josh Johnson, one of the assistant coaches for Greenfield Central, just noticed that. And you can't get a stoppage at this point.
As at the buzzer, the 3 in, and that looked pretty good as they were able to drill it in the corner. And the quarter expires, and boy, Greenfield not happy with how that quarter finished. As a wide open look in the corner for Trey Miller, and he buried it before the buzzer. And it's a dream start for Newcastle. They are up by 11. 1 quarter in the books. Quarter number 2 coming up on the other side of this break here on 9 Star TV.
A neighborhood drive-up builds their menu around locally sourced foods. A community-owned telecom delivers fiber optic bandwidth that helps them leverage high-performing technology with lower startup costs. Turns out, going local doesn't just mean fresh, it means better. 9 Star Connect. Community-owned, community-strong.
Welcome back here to Greenfield Central as Newcastle off to a dream start here tonight. Andrew Kappas and Wes Peak with you, and Wes, at the end of the quarter, kind of a double trouble. Gavin Robertson was on the ground. He had hurt his ankle on the previous play, and him being on the ground ended up inadvertently taking out a teammate. It was 5-on-3. The Trojans buried a 3, and they're up 11 going to quarter number 2.
Yeah, they closed the quarter well there. Newcastle did, and 11 points is a pretty big deficit when you have a team that doesn't make mistakes, doesn't turn it over, and scores on most of their possessions. And right now with Gavin Robertson over there on the bench, that's one less weapon you have on the perimeter.
And not to add on to their bad news, but Caleb Mundell, who really does a little bit of everything for them, he's on the bench with 2 fouls right now.
You still have one more, Mundell.
Yes,
still
you do.
One out there.
The 3-pointer no good. Whistle underneath the basket. It's going to stay here as Will Vanden able to keep it. I think he got shoved in the back. Greaser the foul. That's his first, and only the first foul on the Trojans.
And you get a little flex look here out of the inbound play.
An 11-point lead for Newcastle. On the handoff, Dylan Moles, the freshman who has been fantastic, has it. Flips it over to Cochran. Cochran has been held in check here tonight, so far anyway.
Yeah, Cochran, you watch Cochran play, and he's 100 miles an hour all the time. He cuts hard. When he catches it, he's ready to put it on the floor. He's ready to do something with it. He's a real problem.
Yeah, he's not a bystander by any means.
No, he is not watching. And when a shot goes up, he's going to go flying at the rim.
Like boxing out, so key on a team like Greenfield with so much activity away from the ball.
Good drive.
Great drive to find the open 3, just no good. And what Greenfield continues to be ice cold from beyond the arc.
Yeah, they're going to have to get something towards the rim, although that's not how they play. I mean, they're going to put up a lot of threes, and they're going to go on a stretch where they're going to knock some down. And with that, you get cold stretches too.
McDaniel, a long 3, he made one earlier, misses that as the rebound hauled in by Van.
Yeah, Greenfield has created good ones. They haven't taken a bad
No.
three yet. I mean, they're getting good shots. So.
I think that's what's got to be frustrating right now for Luke Meredith, as they've gotten the looks they've wanted. They just haven't knocked them down for the most part.
Right. The shots are not going in, and they will. You just keep creating good ones, keep making sure that you're taking good ones, and water will find its level.
Three-pointer, as that one hits the back iron.
And that's probably not one they wanted.
A little bit of force there.
Yeah.
Well, the student section is here. You can see them at the bottom of your screen, and they have not had much to cheer about tonight, as Newcastle has come in here and kept the home crowd relatively quiet with their start. They're up by 11. Scoreless here so far in the quarter. That could change here, though, as the corner three buried by Caleb Groh.
That's a really, really good zone offense possession. It's patient. It went side to side. It went high post. It went low post. It got pitched to the corner. Really, really good offense for Newcastle there.
Largest lead of the game. It's 14.
Yep.
Moles.
First rule of ball screen defense, don't ever let it go baseline. You got to make that guy take the ball screen.
Moles had a pretty good look at the rim there with the left hand and just didn't get the kiss off the glass.
Yep, and if you're gonna play the ball screen and jump to the screener like that, you're gonna give up layups. Moles is gonna score some of those.
Here's Cochran. He lost it off his leg. He was able to keep it, though. 5 minutes to go in the half. 22-8, Newcastle in front. This is a little surprising, although given how just the fact that Greenfield hasn't knocked down shots, as we said, that's a reason why the score discrepancy is what it is, as there's a turnover on the baseline right back to Newcastle.
Yeah, and when you go through those dry spells, the pressure becomes, can we get stops? And so, as they find their footing offensively, if they can continue to just make things difficult, they can still be in the game. But right now, Newcastle, with their efficiency and how well they run their offense, it's been difficult to keep them off the scoreboard.
And they find Groh again. This time it's off the front of the rim, no good. And it gets the rebound.
A strong rebound.
They go over the top. They had an open look for a moment. Now he's got to fight through as Wheeler missed the first chance, got it back. His putback no good. And now getting in on the act, Brady Mundell. He's fouled on the way up. Didn't get to finish it, but he'll have 2 at the line.
Now, I believe both Mundell brothers going to University of Indianapolis. One's going to play soccer, one's going to play baseball. I believe Brady is going to play baseball.
That's a good baseball program, UIndy.
Yeah.
That's a good athletic program overall, but
is.
they've done some, my alma mater, I used to have some battles in the GLVC with UIndy back in the day. One more free throw after Mundell missed the first. You know, as a coach, Wes, at what point do you think about putting Caleb Mundell back into the game, even though he's got 2 fouls?
Well, I mean, in a high school game when there's 8-minute quarters, you could probably play and roll with him at 2.
He's checking in right now.
Yeah.
He's about to anyways. There's a turnover off the press. Cochran able to win it back. Floats it underneath, in the air, finished by Vanden.
Good find, and you're going to see the pressure again, picking up full court. And they just got to be careful not to overextend. Like right there, you gamble a little bit. Luckily, McDaniel throws a pass that can't be caught.
It's a little mini 3-0 run that has given some life to this Greenfield team. The problem by falling behind as much as they have, just one bucket can stunt that, but they go over the top to Moles off the steal. Left-handed layup, good.
Really, really good finish by Moles there, off the wrong foot, left-handed, with some pressure there. That's a nice little run.
And for the first time tonight, the gym has a little life. A mini 5-0 run by the Cougars forces the timeout for Daniel Cox and the Trojans.
Yeah, but he's just going to get guys refocused. Greenfield is playing that zone very, very wide, and the middle is open, and I'm sure that there'll be something that attacks that. And I would say, if they're going to play that wide in that zone, anything high-low is going to go for you. But really, the main thing now for them is just to refocus on running good stuff.
Out of the timeout, it's a 5-0 run for the Cougars. They trailed by 14, and they've wiggled it back down to 9. And coming to the closing stages of the first half, 3:37 to play, and if they can stretch this run to halftime, it could be a 1 or 2 possession game.
Yeah, just chip away a point or two at a time. You know, what you don't want to do is let Newcastle come down here and get this.
And a block initially by Brady Mundell. I think he was good with the arms, but his hip.
You know, that's a good time right there, coming out of a timeout that they call to set themselves for your press. That's a great opportunity to change your defense and waste that timeout. There we come out, or I'm sorry, I say we because I'm an alum. Greenfield comes out in that same defense, and Newcastle kind of carves them up there.
Trey Miller has had a good night, missed that first free throw. Has one more remaining, though, that can push the lead back to double digits, and he does, 23-13. 1 out of 2 there for Miller.
Good cut. Good cut by Moles. Takes it a little bit wide, makes it a tough finish. It looks like Robertson's coming back to the bench.
Yeah, they were running him in the hallway there just to the right of the gym where we walked in, and he gets the, I think he just got the okay from the athletic training staff. That's a good sign. Gavin Robertson at 8 points a game, big part of this offense, just a sophomore.
And Ryan Galloy, athletic trainer over there, former Butler athletic trainer.
In good hands.
He's in very good hands.
A kick ball there at the elbow. Placing her back in for Newcastle. 2:48 left in the half. The lead is 10. 23-13.
Yeah, Newcastle struggling to get it in here. I'm not real sure what they were trying to accomplish with that.
Trey Miller got thrown to the ground, I think. He was out of our view on the right side, and he was favoring his left leg a bit, but now he looks to be okay.
Well, he's left open over here. They need to know where he is.
And he's knocked down some shots.
Cochran's a little bit high in the zone there.
Greaser, he's been quiet at the last couple minutes until then, a left-handed three. That's a tough thing, Will, when you fall behind so early. You do a great job of wiggling back, and then just one shot can kind of take the wind out of those sails.
Very, very quickly, and that's why you just got to be dialed in on every possession.
And then there's a turnover on the other end. Brady Mundell had it tipped away. Lessinger in the middle there, able to knock it loose.
Newcastle makes you guard for a long period of time. I mean, they're not coming down and taking quick shots. They're taking you side to side. They're driving you. They're moving the ball, and they're getting good ones. And so when those go down, those are demoralizing.
Pretty good look from Trey Miller, although he missed it off the right of the left of the rim, rather. One and done. Greenfield got the rebound. Mundell driving, looking for Cochran, but that passing lane closed up. Greaser got into it.
Yeah, Newcastle, very, very sound ball screen defense, handoff defense. They're always there.
Now, if you like old school defending, Newcastle, they just do such a good job at getting down and guarding people.
They're going to be in a stance. They're going to close out with hands high, and they're going to sprint to places.
Miller was cherry picking out front. He got the layup and the harm.
A little flex action there. Always love it when you score the layup and you show everybody how strong you are.
Now, he was letting the student section know.
Hope we get video of this.
He was letting the student section know that he finished it at the rim. Miller, he's had a great game so far, just a sophomore. How fun is he to watch?
He shoots it extremely well. He moves without the ball. He does a lot of things for them.
And he wants it back. He's in the corner.
That was going up.
Missed everything, though. Now he's going to hear about it after the flex.
He needed to stretch a little bit after that flex. Yep. That's a heat check there. That's I'm feeling pretty good. I made a couple threes.
Yeah.
He's got a land one action. Let's see if this one will go.
Top of the key, Jake Cochran will reset things, but things have not been easy to come by for Greenfield, and they're going to take a timeout. Luke Meredith was at half court when he took that timeout.
I love it. Luke Meredith is a high-energy guy. He's intense. He's positive. He's a guy that those kids really enjoy, and he's the right guy here at Greenfield. They've gone through coaches quite a bit over the years, and they've had some really, really good ones, and I think he's another one that fits in that list.
This is a good matchup of two young coaches. You know, Daniel Cox has done a great job with Newcastle, and he's got them in great shape, not just for this year, but for the years to come as well.
Yeah, both guys are very good. Daniel Cox has been around, and Luke's been around. They both have good pedigrees, and two programs that are in really good hands.
Greenfield called the timeout. They're down by 15, 28-13 with 48.7 seconds to go in the second quarter. So odds are you can't get it back to single digits before the half, but unless something dramatic happens.
Right.
Back-to-back threes. But right now just maybe in the focus in the huddle is to get one final good offensive possession, get a stop, get into the locker room, and maybe reset your night.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a good long possession here that hopefully ends in the last shot. I think if you're Luke Meredith, you definitely don't want to give them another possession. You don't want to take anything quick, so I would expect this to be a pretty solid possession for Greenfield.
45 seconds on the clock. They'll put the ball in the hands of Moles atop the key.
The only thing you take here, you get a layup, you take it obviously, but they're gonna reverse the ball here a few times and try to get something good, and that's good. That's a good play.
Moles in the corner, misses the three. Tipped up in the air, 50-50 ball for a moment. Now taken away on the near sideline, and they may have the final shot after all.
Yeah, you'd live with that shot.
Caleb Mundell, playing with 2 fouls, has the basketball. 10 seconds to go. Let's see if they go at 7.
You know, this is where you get into trouble here. Greenfield doesn't really have a guy that can go get his own. And then you get to 10 or 12, and that's what you've gotten this time. Scramble.
What a great bounce for Antich, able to finish it at the buzzer. It wasn't pretty, but it certainly worked out for Greenfield as they're able to hang on there, get the bucket, and maybe get some positive momentum going into the locker room. I mean, look at this frantic play. I mean, just a 50-50 ball that two of them really that Greenfield won, and that's how you want to end the half if you're Luke Meredith.
Absolutely. That's just continuing to play hard, and that's the personality that their coach has. That's the standard of play that they expect, and it pays off for them there at the end of the half.
Greenfield has some work to do, though. Newcastle, a very good opening quarter, held on there in the second quarter. They lead by 13 at the half. Third quarter when we come back here on 9-Star TV.
A working mom who brings her best to both roles. A community-owned telecom that connects her home with high-bandwidth fiber optic. Mom can work from home with fast, reliable connectivity and be there when the kids come home. When everyone logs on, the internet connections stay fast and the family stays connected. 9-Star Connect. Community-owned. Community strong.
Back here at Greenfield Central, 28-15, Newcastle on top, and Andrew Kappas, Wes Peak with you here. And Wes, the key for Newcastle in that first half, really strong first quarter, and if you're Greenfield, you just got to make some shots here.
Yeah, there's really a lid on it for them. They've gotten good ones. They've gotten the right guys shooting them. The ball just hasn't gone down, and so you just got to continue to do what you're doing and hope that you can make some shots. But on the flip side of that, you also have to keep the other team from scoring, and that's difficult because Newcastle is precise and efficient, and they make you guard for a long possession, and it's much easier said than done, but Greenfield has the type of kids that will continue to plug away at it.
And maybe the scary thing for Greenfield is that Cole McDaniel came in averaging nearly 17 a game. He has not got going for Newcastle, and despite that, they're up double digits.
Yeah, he hit a shot early, and then he's been kind of quiet, so I would expect for him to make his presence known here early.
Out of the timeout, or out of the halftime break, I should say, it'll be Newcastle basketball. They'll go from right to left on your screen. Newcastle, it's kind of confusing. Newcastle in green, Greenfield is in white.
Yep.
I don't make the rules. I just follow them.
It's just the way they name the place.
Greaser, turnaround jumper, and he was doing that a lot in the first quarter with that left hand.
Yeah, he had 3 of those where he drives in there, gets you up in the air, and pivots and finishes with his left hand, and he's been dangerous for them.
30-15, and that's a good takedown low by Mundell. And I think, Wes, if Greenfield's going to get back in this ball game, they're going to have to do that a lot more, get to the rim and try to get to the line.
Yeah, the perimeter game right now hasn't been kind to them, but If they can get some stuff right around the rim, get to the foul line, and that's a great play there to get a guy in the air and go into his body and draw the contact. And, Brady Mundell is going to step to the line. Now, one thing that Greenfield has struggled with all year is free throw shooting. As a team, they've been pretty bad. So,
now Brady's only at 51%. He does make both of those there, defying the law of averages, and brings the lead back to 13. And they get a steal off the inbounds.
And there's Cochran getting his hands in.
And nearly how big would that have been had that ball rolled in, but it's still 2 shots coming up for Caleb Mundell as we've traded a Mundell for another one at the free throw line.
Yeah, the story last week against Mount Vernon with Greenfield Central was they missed so many foul shots, 6 big ones down the stretch, and we're still able to win the game. But, when you're trying to chip away at a lead like this, you need every point you can get.
Yeah, you talked about how pivotal every possession is, and that really boils down to free throws too. Kind of magnifies, if you will, and they've made all 4 here to start the third quarter.
Yeah, that's a good start for them.
30-19. And Newcastle, at times, has had a hard time getting the ball beyond this point, but they do get it across with McDaniel.
Yeah, good patient possession there, and that's dangerous. If they're going to continue to get the ball in the middle of that zone, bad things are going to happen.
Greaser inside, good dish, finds McDaniel. Layup is good, and the harm.
Yeah, I think we said it right before the half. They're playing such a wide zone that middle is open, and that's the bread and butter area for any zone when you're playing against it. You get it there, you can collapse everybody, and you can go a lot of different places with it.
McDaniel able to finish at the rim, and checking out of the game right now is going to be Brady Mundell.
So you lose some toughness there, you lose some leadership, but you gain a really good knockdown perimeter shooter.
Free throw rattles in, so the and one completed by Cole McDaniel. Knocked down that early triple in the first quarter, but for the most part was quiet in the first half. The lead back to 14, 33-19.
Good recovery there from Newcastle. Trey Miller got out to that shooter and stopped a potential 3.
Yeah, Moles was open on the wing for just a moment, and he thought about pulling the trigger until Miller got there.
Yeah, I don't think he has – he might have a little stronger conscience than Hannah Farrell had in that first game.
The step-back 3 there by Mundell, no good. And to make matters worse, Cochran fell down, and McDaniel, a rare miss, uncontested at the rim.
Yeah, he got a little loose with it there.
There's a layup and a foul. 50-50 play right there as Caleb Mundell able to finish it at the rim. Without the restricted area, you kind of hold your breath when you're a defender or an attacker.
Yeah, I think Coach Cox would have liked McDaniel to keep another hand on the ball there going to the rim and finish that play. Instead, anytime you miss a layup or you take a bad shot, a lot of times it ends up in a layup on the other end, and that's what we had here.
Free throw, though, no good. It's the first miss, though, at the free throw line of the second half. 4 out of 5 now is Greenfield. 33-21. Big possession here as Miller gets to the basket and is unable to finish.
Yeah, another one.
Great move to get free. And Moles takes it across.
Yeah, that's a big swing, and that's 2 possessions there. Newcastle's had point-blank layups and haven't converted.
What a big possession this becomes. Is getting to the rack, the layup, good.
And that's a great finish by Jake Cochran. Great finish.
Through some contact, too, and boy, thought we might have had a harm there as well, but the lead is down to 10, 33-23. And considering you've only spent 2.5 minutes off the quarter, this is right on schedule, if you will, if you're Greenfield.
No, this is the kind of start to the half Coach Meredith wanted.
But a big answer. Lessinger able to finish it on the arc.
Yeah, that's his second 3, so now you know it's not fool's gold. He's going to shoot that, and he's going to make it.
Averages 7 a game, the senior. Not just a post player.
No. A lot of those guys aren't anymore.
No, that has become the advent of the stretch 4, right?
Stretch 4, yeah.
Mundell gets to the rack.
Stretch 4 is French for tall guy that can shoot.
36-25. I was a stretch 2 back when I played, but it's different story for a different day. Miller might have extended the arm a little bit, but he didn't get called for it. Step back long, too. Drains it.
And his stroke looks good. I mean, it's smooth. He finishes high. His feet are always pointing to the rim. I really like the way he plays.
I like his poise because by looking at him, you can't tell he's a sophomore.
No.
Just the way he conducts himself on the floor, not just when he's flexing. As Mundell gets fouled on the way up, and Lessinger will be the one who gets called for that.
Yeah, he may have given a little chicken wing on the way up there.
So Caleb Mundell to the free throw line. He sat a good portion of that second quarter with 2 fouls. First free throw is good.
Hey, and they're doing a great job at the foul line. I mean, these are guys that don't shoot it well, and I think they made 5 in a row.
Yeah, 5 out of 6. They missed the and one. So if you don't make some of those, this is still a 15-point game.
Yeah.
But because you're making them, it's down to 11.
And now you're going to set your press.
A timeout. 38-27. We got ourselves a ball game here. 4:24 left in the third quarter. If you're Newcastle, you kind of got to keep things in perspective. Yes, it's a great start for Greenfield, but you look up at the scoreboard, you still got a double-digit lead. But on the other end, for Greenfield, this has been a pretty good start to the second half. Not much better than what you could have scripted.
Yeah, you just needed to see the ball go through the basket, and they're seeing that now, and that builds your confidence. It allows you, the mentality with kids is if you're scoring, you play defense a little better. It's something that is positive for them.
Taking a look at next week, Delta and Pendleton Heights. We mentioned Pendleton Heights has not had many league games yet, although that'll obviously rectify itself. But that'll air at 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock next Saturday here on 9 Star TV. Good one here today, though. 38-27, Trojans in front. Reminder why this game is so big. Both of these teams 2-1 in league play coming into tonight. You get a big leg up if you can go to 3-1. This is a big possession for Greenfield.
Yeah, they really need to stop here. They don't want this to get much further. You don't want them to get any more life than they already have. And you're playing hard. I mean, they're active. They're aggressive. They're staying with the play.
And last time we said there was a big possession for Greenfield, Blessinger hit a 3 on the near wing. That kind of stunted the comeback. There's a whistle away from the ball, underneath the basket.
Travel.
Kind of interesting.
It's an odd angle to get that whistle, but it goes Greenfield's way here.
Yeah, Dylan Burgum was right in front of the baseline official. He elected not to call it. The backside one did, and I think that drew a little bit of a sigh from Daniel Cox over there on the sideline. Greenfield back with it. They can cut it to single digits with a bucket on this end. Gavin Robertson, he missed a little bit of time with an ankle injury. Good to see him back out there in this second half.
Yeah, and I think the length of Newcastle has given he and Moles both a little bit of hesitation to pull that 3. They're covering more ground with their length.
Yeah, you got Brandon Matney now coming out and guarding Robertson, and he can't shoot over him.
No,
he's going to try to here. Front of the rim, no good.
I think you heard us talking. I'll show you.
McDaniel gobbles up the rebound on almost a reverse roll. He had the big guy guarding, and then McDaniel, the little guy, getting the board. Listed at 5'10".
Yeah, McDaniel is 5'10". I'd be shocked.
Bit of a erratic jumper there, and Miller able to get it back. And a timeout, Newcastle.
So we're looking at what did the ball hit, because it looked to me like it hit the basket support, which would be out of bounds.
And Luke Meredith is at half court, and he is instructed to go back to his bench. And we're going to take another look at it. Bit of a wild shot. That hit the
support would be out of bounds. The top of the backboard is not. The top of the backboard is play on. But
yeah, that looked like it hit the beam.
Yeah.
But it goes without saying, no video review here.
No,
and,
we get the opportunity to do that and criticize, and they don't. So it'll be a play on.
38-27, Newcastle with the ball. Bit of a break. Jay Cochran letting him know, though, that it hit a beam.
Right.
But in defense of the officials, and not saying it's a makeup call, but I think Dylan Burgum's travel might have been a little bit iffy on the last time down. But
that could be.
Not saying it's a makeup, but these things have a way of evening themselves out sometimes.
They do. They're just with a look sometimes.
Yes. Well, Newcastle trying to keep this lead double digits. It's 11 right now, 2.5 to play in the third quarter. And they start to slow down the pace a little bit, is Newcastle, at least out of the timeout.
Yeah, and that's a really errant pass there. It's across the defense into the painted area. That's a tough look. But the middle of that zone, which Newcastle didn't occupy till late in that possession before they threw it away. But I really like putting a guy there that can shoot and distribute. So, if you're throwing it to the top of the floor and you're cutting, McDaniel through there, Miller through there, I think those are good options for them.
Mundell brings it up. He'll flip it around to Cochran. He's been quiet tonight. Cochran with the basketball, uses the screen, gets to the elbow. Now a 3-ball, top the key for Antich. And McDaniel had it for a moment, tipped out of bounds. Hit about everybody under the basket, but it'll stay with Greenfield. 1:56 left in the third quarter. Keep looking for a shot clock, partner. Can't find one.
There's not.
They go over the top to Dylan Moles.
Luckily these two teams really don't need one.
No. Just kind of breaking out of the rhythm there.
Yeah.
Great shot for Cochran in the corner. Buries it.
There he goes.
And it's back to single digits.
Yeah. You said he'd been quiet, and there he goes.
38-30. What a quarter for Greenfield Central. They're at +6. I mean, ideally, mathematically, you'd like to be +7 when you're down by 14 at the half, and they're right at that mark. No,
this has been a good quarter for them. They really need to close it well with a stop and a score, and they're right back in it.
38-30, 1:20 left. Let's see how Newcastle responds. And it could be this man right here, Greaser. He has had an answer at times with that drive and spin and little dish with the left.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if they use all this minute and 8.
McDaniel driving, stepping back, the 3 in the corner. What an answer from McDaniel right in front of his bench.
Yeah, and it looked like he might have lost that thing on the way up, but, I mean, that was pure as it gets.
That's confident right there. The step back 3. Pushes it back to 11. Little heat check for Cochran. Followed his shot, got his miss, and puts it in for 2.
Yeah, I really like him as a potential small college recruit. I mean, he's got
that versatility and the size.
Well, he does a number of different things, and he's got the body, and he's active, and he plays hard, and he seems coachable. So I think he's got a future. And
he just made every coach, including you, smile by following that missed 3.
Absolutely.
McDaniel with 12 seconds to go. Is Newcastle going to try to hold for the final shot? This lead is single digits.
I think the only coach I've ever heard say not to follow your shot is Phil Martelli, and his thing was, why would you assume you're going to miss?
McDaniel didn't miss at the buzzer, off the glass and in, and he has had an answer for every Greenfield move, and that layup at the buzzer pushes the lead back to double digits, and what was a very good quarter for Greenfield only ends up being +3 on the scoreboard.
Yeah, Cole McDaniel there finishes that quarter the way Greenfield would have liked to. You knew he was going to get going, and he kind of did there in the third.
A step back 3 and a buzzer beater, and that ends the third quarter. Fourth quarter coming up. Newcastle by 11 here on 9 Star TV.
Carnegie's A Place to Eat is the place for exceptional dining in Greenfield. Enjoy our hand-cut steaks, fresh seafood, herbs and vegetables straight from our gardens, prepared with a northern Italian flair. Chef Ian and his staff welcome you as our guests to enjoy fine wines, dinners, and ambiance. Carnegie's is the place for your special event with a private room that seats 100. Perfect for your next party, business meeting, or wedding reception. We are located in the historic Carnegie Library in downtown Greenfield. We'll see you at Carnegie's.
Back here at Greenfield Central, and what a third quarter it was. And the kind of frustrating thing is, Andrew Kappas, Wes Peak with you tonight, Wes, for Greenfield, is that you feel really good about that third quarter, but then you look up at the scoreboard and think, hey, didn't we cut into that lead a little bit more than just 3 points? It's still an 11-point advantage for Newcastle.
Yeah, they got it to 8, but Newcastle kept responding. Cole McDaniel made shot after shot.
Yeah, he had 5 points that were ice cold at the end of the third quarter. A step back 3 and then a finish at the rim right before the red light went off.
All answers to Greenfield scores.
Great feed by Mundell as he passed up a good shot to find an automatic one as Antich finishes.
Yep, great play, good start to the quarter for Greenfield Central.
43-34. 7:30 left in this fourth quarter. Plenty of time for Greenfield, especially with this newfound offensive confidence that they regained, or at least found, I guess, in the third quarter. But McDaniel, he's had an answer, but left that layup short. Yep. 2-on-1 break if they can hurry. Greenfield, Cochran, the ball fake. The call is going to be a block.
Yep, and again, here we go. Adventures in free throw shooting for Greenfield Central. They've been good tonight from the line. Statistically, they're not, but late in the game here, fourth quarter, you got to make these.
Yeah, they were, I believe, 6 of 7 in the third quarter from the free throw line. The only one they missed was an and one opportunity. Cochran to the free throw line, rattles the first one home. And this is as close as they've been this entire second half. It's 8.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can make this free throw, it's as close as they've been since the first quarter. It's a 7-point game, 43-36. Plenty of time left. We got a good one. We thought we did coming in,
yep.
And it's finally starting to kind of show its head here.
Yep, Greenfield has slowly gotten their footing, got some shots to fall, made some free throws, and has kind of figured out what Newcastle's trying to do.
Hand check foul. A couple of number 11s going at each other as Brady Mundell fouls William Greaser. And that's Mundell's 4th foul. And you look up at that time, that's 7:01. That's a lot of time to be playing with 4 fouls. He's going to come out of the game.
It is. And you bring a younger guy in the game, but you also bring in a guy that is going to knock down shots.
They get the ball in. Greaser turnaround jumper with the left hand, and that's the 5th time tonight he's been able to finish at the rim.
Yep, all with his left hand.
45-36. Mundell drives, runs into trouble, kicks it out to Cochran. They'll reset. Mundell directing traffic. McDaniel staying home atop the key. He's guarding Mundell into the post. Gavin Robertson has not gotten loose yet. Good three-point shooter. Mundell drives to the basket with the left hand off the glass and in.
You know, all that movement, all that action creates switch opportunities. It creates mismatches, and you end up with a matchup you like, and Mundell gets to the rim there and finishes.
45-38, 6-12 in this fourth quarter.
And the closer they get, the harder it'll be for Newcastle to be Newcastle, because they're going to have to continue to play.
Blessinger able to knock down the shot, and he gets fouled. Blessinger, boy, that was a great finish. The foul was really late. I think it was on the landing. You got to let him land, and Antich came across with his leg, and Blessinger might have stuck out his right leg a little bit, but that's a heads-up play by a senior.
Yeah, you've gotten to the point in the game now where guys are such good shooters that you're taught to either close it or run it, meaning run past it. But to jump and contest is always dangerous.
I think he was caught in between the two because he went to his left, but I don't think he got out of the way enough.
Right.
And that's been a point of emphasis at least at the collegiate level this year is you got to give them that landing space, a shooter. As what a cut to the basket, but Blasinger, I don't know if he got a hand on it. Mundell might have just lost the handle, and it went off his thigh out of bounds back to Newcastle.
And that's a missed opportunity because that looked like that was about to be points.
Yeah, because Blessinger playing with 2 fouls didn't want to hack him, so he was going to let him go by.
Yeah.
48-38, 10-point game. Newcastle has weathered the storm a little bit, and if they can get a bucket here, it would be really demoralizing for Greenfield.
Yeah, and what you'll see for them is if they don't have a layup, they're going to be patient with it here.
As McDaniel tried to create one there, and then he kicked out of it once help came. So now Greaser will direct some traffic. And he'll try to go in. Gets cut off.
Yeah, Coach Cox doesn't like the spacing they have. He wants some spread. They're going to drive it at the freshman.
A little floater by Greaser on the block is no good, and the freshman Dylan Moles held his ground there.
Yeah. No, against a strong kid who's been efficient inside tonight.
Cochran, another move that, as you said, at the small collegiate level, somebody can definitely use that as Cochran. This is a strong take. He just saw an open lane. It wasn't very big, but he saw it. He went through it, and he got fouled.
Yeah, he's got the ability to drive it to the basket and create for others and also finish tough shots, and that's a skill that not a lot of guys have anymore at that level.
And you see the frustration on him, though, in and out on the first free throw. And those are magnified here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Especially on the first one. Don't have a chance to rebound it. Makes the second, 1 out of 2, and that pushes it back to single digits, 48-39.
You know, this is about the time last week against Mount Vernon that he really came alive and scored and stole the ball and rebounded and really made his presence felt.
Well, Newcastle has been able to keep it right about here. This has been kind of the hump, if you will, for the Cougars. Newcastle will try to keep it that way with a bucket on this end, or at least a productive trip. McDaniel gets the ball on a handoff from Burgum. He'll fire up a shot, missed everything. Don't see a miss like that very often from him. Bowls the rebound.
No, and I don't think Coach Cox was really that interested in a shot at that point.
Greenfield will pull it out, down by 9. Mundell passes the 3, gets inside, jump stop layup, no good, but he's fouled. And that's just what the doctor ordered for Greenfield. I know they've struggled at the free throw line, but you stop the clock, get some chance to put up some points.
Yeah, conversion is important right now. You know, on the other end, Newcastle's trying to be patient. Sometimes kids just have to be kids, you know. You take a quick shot there and you give it up when really all you've got to do is possess the ball and get something easy. They were in the process of making them chase, and then they got a little impatient.
48-40. One more free throw to go. Is that one no good, but a rebound for a moment. Antich had it, and then it was knocked loose. And guess who? Greaser was the one that I think dislodged it, although Greaser dribbles it off his right foot out of bounds into the water cooler, and Greenfield gets a big break. They'll get it back with 4:04 left, down by 8.
Yep, and that's Jake Cochran hanging around, pressuring the ball, creating that turnover.
And just causing enough stress.
Yeah.
I don't think Greaser knew he was there when he turned around.
No, and you wouldn't think he would be there.
Under 4 to play, plenty of time. Mundell kicks it out. Three-pointer on the way for Moles. No good. It looked good. Rebound by Mundell to put back off the glass and in. It's 6.
Big rebound. Really big rebound and put back from Mundell there. And you know, the biggest thing there was that Moles had a good look, a clean look.
For the first time tonight, this Greenfield crowd getting into it as they're within 6, the closest it's been since midway through the first. Greaser finishes at the rim and 1. He and McDaniel, every time Newcastle has needed an answer, they have found it.
Yeah, they've definitely come down and punched back. You know, when you start to feel that momentum swing, they've had an answer over and over and over again.
Greaser, just a junior. He's been pretty good at the free throw line this year, north of 70%, and one chance is good. And that pushes the lead back to 9. And a timeout, I think Newcastle called it. And it's either way, a Newcastle timeout. 51-42. The Trojans in front, 3.5 to play in the fourth quarter. And, you know, if you're Greenfield, you can say, well, if you had this offense that you've had in the third quarter and here in the first half of the fourth quarter in the first half, this might be a 1 or 2 point game. But because you started out so slow, Newcastle has done just enough in this second half to hold off any significant advance.
Yeah, and I think at this point you're looking at what can Newcastle do to lose the game more than anything else. I mean, they're in the driver's seat right now. They've answered every punch. Are they going to get impatient? Are they going to get disrupted? Are they going to get sped up? And if Greenfield can do that and cause them to turn it over or take quick shots, they'll have a chance. But I would imagine that Coach Cox right now is talking about being patient, working a possession all the way through, and taking nothing but a layup at this point.
3:30 to go. Plenty of time, but again, with Newcastle and their ball handlers, they can milk some time off. But it will be Greenfield basketball out of the TO.
And this would be another opportunity here to change your defense a little bit. You know, Greenfield's got timeout over there. They're planning something. Switch things up and waste that timeout.
Mundell atop the key, a 3. Front of the rim, no good, and keeping his footing under the basket, pretty impressive. Matney thought he was headed for the floor, but stayed upright and got the rebound.
Yeah, it looked like somebody had a hook going there.
Yeah, he got swung around. Now he's got to fight for it again. Ball tipped away and then stolen away is Mundell, and then he bumps into I believe that was Greaser, and just a blocking foul there. Greaser, wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, that time the foul's called on the guy that took the brunt of the punishment.
Yep. Although it ends up being maybe a good foul. Well, it's in the bonus. I was going to say it was about to be a fast break for Greenfield, but
yeah, and statistically, it's not a bad foul because he's a 51% free throw shooter, but he's been good tonight.
Now Brady Mundell to the line. This will be the final 1-1.
Yep. He's shot it well from the line tonight.
The next foul will put the Trojans at 10, so double bonus time. Cougars have only committed 4, so they still have 2 fouls to give, which is something of note if they're going to want to try to extend the game. Free throw good as it rattles in. Those are 2 big makes. And Greenfield continues to hang around. Down by 7 with 3:01 to play, and here's some full court pressure.
Oh, they lost him.
Greaser has it in the corner. He'll dribble out of that corner. A little 50-50 ball, and it goes out of bounds.
Yeah, and that's not great pressure. That's decent pressure, and they throw it away. So, if you're Greenfield, you come right back with that. You come right back with that in the half court if you have that situation. It looks like if you can get some kind of pseudo trap, you can get them to turn it over to you.
And only 5 or so seconds come off the clock. Mundell for 3. Good in front of his bench. The lead is 4.
It's a big, big shot from the senior.
Luke Meredith fired up on the sideline. Let's see what the press does. They're going to try to attack it from the middle here as Greaser comes across, and they do get it over half court.
And so now you want to do this without fouling.
And as you say that, Cochran, he got a little too aggressive. You almost rather see him, that behind the back kind of jab at the ball rarely works. More often than not, you're going to hit the elbow or the lower forearm. And I think that's what he did. I think he got him on the lower forearm.
Yeah, and they're going to need that foul anyway.
You're right.
As they're down, it's not a terrible foul, but it kind of kills your momentum.
Yeah, they still have 1 foul to give. They're at 5 team fouls, and they might have just given it.
Yep, off the ball.
Antich gets called for it, so that's 6 team fouls for the Cougars, and we are in bonus the rest of the way. Cougars in the the and 1 bonus, and Trojans in the 1-1 bonus. I haven't had a bonus in so long.
We haven't.
And there's a whistle and a foul, and it's going to go the other way. How about that? You don't see that too often.
No.
2 fouls before the ball is inbounded
right.
on back-to-back plays. This one goes against Newcastle.
2 fouls without any time going off the clock.
Big development for Greenfield. They're within 4. They are plus 10 in the second half. They were down 14 at the break.
Yeah, and the difference has been they've gotten shots to fall. They've gotten good ones the whole night. Now they're going down, and they've defended well.
There's a whistle away from the ball, and that's going to be a double bonus time.
Trey Miller thinks the screen might have been moving. There's a good chance it was, but once the whistle blows, it's hard to unblow it.
Brady Mundell to the free throw line. This will be a double bonus. Well, they box out as if it's a single, but it was the 10th foul on the Trojans. He makes it either way, and that screen, he dipped his leg in a little bit there at the end. And
yep, he's got a case.
It's a 2-point game. Can you believe it? It doesn't matter how we got here. This is the game we thought we were going to get. It's finally here.
Yep, and they're both teams are going at it. Now the momentum is solely in Greenfield's possession here.
McDaniel gets it across, and he gets a little too greedy. He saw a man wide open under the basket. The pass led him too far out of bounds, and Greenfield's got it back.
Yep.
And this place, which has been quiet for 3.5 quarters, is now on their feet.
Yeah, and you look at Luke Meredith on the sideline. You watch him work, and his guys are him on the floor. I mean, intense and active and engaged, and you can overcome a lot of things with that type of enthusiasm.
And I think for your other point there, Wes, is you're seeing maybe the edge lost a little bit from Newcastle. They had great energy in that first half. Guys like Trey Miller, the body language, it's just not there right now. And I think that's momentum playing a big role. Is that their backs a little bit against the wall now here on the road, but still up by 2.
Yeah, they're reeling a little bit because they haven't handled pressure at all. They've coughed it up a little bit. They've taken some quick shots that they probably wish they had back, and now they find themselves in a 2-point game. And so, which team can recenter and refocus on what they're trying to get accomplished here the last 2 minutes and take control of this game. Right now, it looks like Greenfield has got control of it.
Big Hoosier Heritage Conference matchup. The winner of this game goes to 3-1 and is very much in good position going into the later stages of the month of January. The loser at 2-2 got to leapfrog about a handful of teams if you fall to 2-2. So a big game in the big picture of things.
And Newcastle's going to come out here with a small lineup with more ball handlers on the floor to try to handle some of that Greenfield pressure.
2 minutes to play, 51-49. Greenfield has not led in this game. They have a chance to tie or possibly take the lead here. Mundell will drive, baseline, had a little opening, unable to finish the layup, and the ball is going to be a jump ball, arrow pointing to Newcastle.
Yep. No, I've said it before, those drives to the baseline when in a ball screen situation have all ended up at the rim. And so if you're either one of these teams guarding a ball screen on the wing, you got to make that guy take it.
They have had trouble with the full court. They do get into McDaniel, and what a spin move as he gets it across ease.
Yeah, and he needs to keep the ball in his hands in the middle of the floor right where he is. And I think I'd spread this thing and let him go.
130.
Just like that.
Dances down the lane. Big shot from McDaniel off the glass and in.
Yeah, the game's pretty simple when you got a guy like that. Get out of the way. Get out of the way and let him win the game for you.
I love the clear out. That's just trusting your guy. It's a 5-on-4 for a moment.
Yeah.
On the ground was Burgum. He's back up on his feet. 1:05 left. No need to panic for Greenfield, but there is a bit of sense of urgency. It's a 2-possession game.
Yeah, you can't use all this clock. That's what you want right there.
Cochran floating off the glass and in. Timeout Greenfield.
Yeah, good strong left-hand drive there and finish. Keeps it at 2, and now it's who can get a stop.
I tell you what, this is exciting. 52.6 seconds to go. I was a little surprised with, just looking at the matchup before the game. Thought this one would be back and forth, counterpunch from the get-go.
Yep.
And after a very sluggish first half offensively, Greenfield, who to their credit was able to slow down Newcastle in the second quarter. That slowdown of the Trojans in the second quarter is a big reason why they have a chance to win the game here at the end.
Absolutely, and they've got momentum here, and they're a stop away from getting a chance to tie the game up or even go ahead. So the next possession or two for both teams are going to be critical.
52.6 seconds to go. Trey Miller is about to check back in for Newcastle.
The thing about checking him back into the game right now is you still got to get the ball inbounds, and he's not handled it real well against pressure tonight. You need him in the game because he's your best shooter. He's going to make foul shots, but you got to make sure that he understands he's got to be really strong with it.
Let's see how Newcastle elects to attack the press. Greenfield called the timeout. It'll be thrown in by Newcastle.
Yep.
Derek Tabor checked in. He's a ball handler, but they're going to clear out now, and they do get it across with Burgum. Bounces it to McDaniel, and that's who you want to have the basketball.
Yep.
35 seconds. McDaniel floats to the rim. Layup no good, and Greenfield has it back. 30 seconds to go, down by 2. Cochran to the basket. Layup no good. Batted around. It's loose on the floor. It's a melee for the basketball, and there's a whistle. And I think we're going to get a loose ball foul here, Wes.
It's going to go on Moles probably here.
And Cochran shaking his hands as he knows he had a golden opportunity. Like he was shot out of a cannon. He lost the ball a little bit on the way up, I think.
Yeah, just like Cox did in the first half. He had the same kind of play, and he took that other hand off the ball and goes one-handed and loses it. That's a big miss. But you got plenty of time here.
And it's a 1-and-1.
1-and-1. You got a guy that hadn't been in the game for very much time tonight.
A sophomore.
A sophomore, and he's in a hostile place.
This is the loudest the gym has been outside of maybe when they cut it to 2.
Yep.
Derek Tabor, perhaps the biggest free throws of his young high school career, makes the first.
His dad was a heck of a basketball player. His dad, Chad Tabor, was a great player at New Castle and then went on to be an All-American at Wabash. And he's got the bloodline.
One more to go for Tabor. 2 of a kind. Boy, that is ice cold in those veins.
It is. And Dad's up there smiling somewhere.
55-51, and Greenfield needs a quick bucket here. Long 3 coming up for Bulls, and he missed everything. Cochran tries to save it. And New Castle, still some work to do. They got to inbound it, but.
Yeah, so you're going to try to get a steal if you can get it. If not, you're going to foul quick. You're going to face guard, but you got to watch and make sure that you don't get beat deep on something easy. I'm not a big fan of having him with his back to the ball. I think I'd rather, if we're going to face guard, I think I would rather have my guard behind the guys to avoid anything deep. But you're going to get a different look anyway coming out of this timeout.
Yeah, timeout for New Castle. And you know, to talk about some of the rules variations, this is where I think you lose a little bit in the women's game at the collegiate level. I like the way they changed it to the quarter system. I don't like how the fouls reset, because this is the kind of drama that you get when it's a 1-and-1, because that's what it's going to be if the Cougars do have to put New Castle on the line. You have that chance where you don't give up any points, and you could come right back down, down by 4.
It makes the whole game matter. I mean, the whole half at least matter. You know, you reset fouls like that in that game, and it's just a different way to look at how you close. And here, you know that you got to have so many fouls to give or so many fouls not to give, and you're going to have to give one, and somebody's going to have to go to the line and make free throws. And
takes a little bit of the drama, but maybe more importantly, a little bit of the strategy out of the game. Let's see if Greenfield can get a steal. They are unable to, so there's the foul, and they didn't want to foul him, but Cole McDaniel, who was the focal point, obviously, of that inbounds play, gets it, and he'll go to the line. He's a 77% free throw shooter this year.
Yeah, you'll feel good with him at the line right now.
He can put the game on ice. It'll be a maximum 2-possession game if he makes both. But he misses the front end. 10 seconds to go, but there's the steal, and McDaniel will try again. But more importantly, Greenfield, they had a chance, time not their friend, to go down quickly, cut it to 2, and see if something magical could happen. And now McDaniel can really put this game on ice.
Yeah, I think they were surprised that he missed, and there was an opportunity for them.
He missed, and it rattled in. Boy, it hung up there, spun around, and that's a shooter's touch right there.
Yeah, it is. That puts them up 5 with 9.5 left. So one more here makes it really, really difficult.
One more for McDaniel. And it's no good. 8 seconds. Greenfield's got to hurry. And a foul, that's a charge, as Antich left his feet with the man already there, and that's going to do it. As New Castle able to hang on here tonight. Yeah, he was well positioned.
No, I think Michael Jordan did that dunk in the 86 dunk contest, or 89 dunk contest.
He just didn't get over him. That was the only problem. Baseball pass, and Newcastle might have given it right back. They do. Trey Miller.
And they'll get it under the basket.
56-51, and the Trojan leading the goodbye chant, maybe a little early for that, but you feel pretty good if you're Newcastle, but crazier things have happened.
No, Coach Cox is arguing that the ball should be out over there because somebody touched it, but that ball went straight out of bounds, and I think it was Trey Miller maybe with the
I
save
think
attempt.
I want to say they whistled it before Miller even got there, so they were pretty adamant from the get-go that was what had happened.
So, I mean, it's not inconceivable that you don't make a quick 3 here. And
Cochran, well, that pump fake might cost him a little bit of time. He misses the 3, and that'll do it. As at the buzzer, it'll count. If it goes, it doesn't. And Newcastle able to hang on. But what a game here tonight. We thought it would be a dandy. It was a one-sided affair in the first half, but in the second half, Greenfield gave Newcastle all they could handle before the Trojans hang on to go to 3-1 in conference play.
Yeah, that's absolutely the game we thought we were going to get. Newcastle started strong, and Greenfield closed and made it a game. And, a couple of plays here and there for both teams, you have a different result, but that's how it goes in conference play, and Newcastle wins, and Greenfield goes back to the drawing board.
Greenfield falls to 2-2 in HHC play, while Newcastle moves to 3-1 and 8-4 overall. What a whale of a ball game here was a fun one, especially in that second half. Wes, it was great working with you. Our inaugural go-about, if you will,
right.
Together. But hopefully we'll be seeing you as the season wears on, because this is the best time of year. We're starting to get into the teeth of conference play.
That's right. And I think both of these teams are ready to get on with their season, finish the conference, and move on to the sectional.
That does it for us here tonight. Once again, your final score, Newcastle 56, Greenfield 51. For our outstanding crew and my main man, Wes Peak, I'm Andrew Kappas saying so long from Greenfield.